Hey there, Lee Stranahan here. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. So, I'm a political commentator. What I do is I host a news and politics show, The Backstory, on Radio Sputnik. But, you know who became the most popular political commentator on YouTube yesterday? Russell Brand, the British comedian and actor. And let me tell you why I think Russell, he's entertaining and he's also independent. And that's not all. He talks about politics, but he also talks about practical concerns about coping with life and spiritual concerns about coping with life. And you can't discuss politics in a vacuum. Because first off, it's very depressing. Because we don't have much control, you and I, over the political fortunes of the world. Our input barely matters, even if you believe that voting can be effective, which I do, but there's a big asterisk next to that. I believe there's still enough democracy that if you're smart about it, you can sort of make a difference in large numbers. And I believe Donald Trump getting elected in 2016 was proof that it can sort of matter. But it's not the only factor. But either way, you see what I'm saying. You don't have much control over politics. You can sit by and watch and observe and comment, and you can complain, and you can bitch on Twitter. That's fun. But you don't control it. But you have a life to live. You individually have a life to live. You have a family, and you have friends, and people you care about, right? And politics affects your life. As you know, if you've bought gas lately, or food, or baby formula. So, I'm giving this presentation the provocative title, Be Like Putin and Thrive. Of course, as many of you know, I've had about half a dozen strokes in the last year, including the last one, which was kind of a doozy, which is why I sometimes sound halting. And my voice is getting better, but I sometimes sound like, I know. If you think it's difficult to listen to me sometimes, imagine what it's like in here. I hear myself. I hear the way I sound. And I'm not as smooth as I once was, but I'm getting better. And as I'm trying to look for principles in my life about how not to just survive, because just surviving is a low expectation. I believe in a lot of ways you can thrive. And take a look at, and the reason it's a provocative title, obviously, Vladimir Putin is one of the most controversial people on planet Earth. He's up there with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And for the same reason, by the way, a lot of people like Vladimir Putin. And it's people in Russia. And I would rather have the people in the country that I lead liking me in big numbers, unlike Joe Biden. Joe Biden can't say that. A lot of people here don't like him. And even Donald Trump was about 50-50. Vladimir Putin is very popular with the people in Russia. But he's not universally popular, because how could you be? You're a politician, you're going to piss some people off and disappoint others. And others didn't vote for you and are glad and want you defeated. But Vladimir Putin is, I would say, the single uniformly most hated person in the West, the United States and Ukraine. And so therefore, to a U.S. audience, because I don't speak Russian, to a U.S. audience saying be like Putin, a lot of people, that's like if I did a video called Be Like Hitler. I'm not a fan of Hitler. I'm against Nazis, which is why I'm on Putin's side. But I digress. You know, a lot of people hear Be Like Putin, and they think it's Be Like Hitler, because they've been so demonized against Vladimir Putin. But I actually mean it. And I say this as a patriotic American, as a person who loves what this country was founded on and its ideals that we've lost for about 150 years or so. So saying be like Putin, I know it's potentially very controversial and it's provocative, but think about it. I want you to look at the way Vladimir Putin conducts himself, and think how you can apply it in your life. Because you can. You can find some principles for your own life and your life, the life of your loved ones and your children, in Vladimir Putin's approach to things. And that doesn't require you moving to Russia or taking a loyalty oath or learning Russian or anything. And first one is what I just said. Do you think Vladimir Putin cares? Do you think he's not aware of what the West has been doing, demonizing him and propagandizing against him and outright lying about him for years? Yes, he knows that. Vladimir Putin goes about his business, which is running Russia, every day. If he got up and he cared what people thought about him on social media, he would be cowering under a desk. You dig? If he said, well, let's see how popular I am on Twitter, oops, it wouldn't be going well for him. So first off, he doesn't care about opinion that's wrong about him. You've got to know yourself well enough. You know, again, I get, this is why I've been changing my philosophy and blocking people. I didn't used to do that. I try not to block people because I'm in favor of discussion. And I'll talk to someone who honestly disagrees. But some people are so brainwashed that I'm never going to convince them. And they're such haters that I'd rather ignore them and get on with my life. And Vladimir Putin largely ignores the haters all throughout this military action in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has not been playing the PR game. He's been guiding the economy and military and largely letting the economy and the military do its thing, not trying to micromanage it. That's another good principle. But confidently letting it do its job. He knew, and because he'd set this up, there's another good principle here. Do you think Putin was unaware what was coming in terms of the economic sanctions that the West thought would destroy Russia? The West was sure, they were absolutely confident they would destroy the ruble and destroy the Russian economy. But Putin wasn't worried about it because he'd prepared. He knew that he was going to have to cut himself off from the West because they were never going to like him. And that's an important principle. If you've got people in your life, whoever they are, they could be your family. If people are never going to be on your side, you have to be willing to let them go. Putin has been willing to let go McDonald's and Starbucks. And ultimately, is that a bad thing? Right? I'm sure he would have let them stay around, but you have to look at your life and ask yourself what you are going to lose, possibly, and what you can keep in your life. And try to keep the things in your life that want to stay there. He wasn't overly worried that the economy was going to tank because it's no accident that Russia is okay with the massive economic sanctions. They prepared for it. Are you prepared for them? Are you prepared for what's coming? Because a lot of the writing is on the wall. Your leaders, I'll give you an example. Don't keep loyalty to people who aren't loyal to you. And I'm going to be blunt. Donald Trump. Do you have more loyalty to Donald Trump than he has to you? Why? By the way, if you're a Democrat at all, if you have any faith in any Democratic leadership, the Democrat Party, you're far more nuts than Trump supporters. Your political leaders aren't loyal to you. I don't mean you need to curse them. You just need to go, I can't count on them. Right? They're not your friends. The Democratic leadership is no friend to you. Similarly, Donald Trump is no friend to you. And I've said before, one of my favorite films is The Bronx Tale. Chaz Palminteri wrote and stars in it. Robert De Niro directed it. And it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, watch it. But Chaz Palminteri is talking to the kid in the film and asks him who his hero is. And the kid says, Mickey Mantle. And Chaz Palminteri says to him, do you think Mickey Mantle cares about you? Trust me. Stop putting your faith in people who don't have your back. And Donald Trump is not going to lose any sleep over this. I'm not a hater. I'm not saying I would never vote for Donald Trump. Because I believe democracy ultimately comes down to a choice of bad choices. When it comes to voting, I might well vote for him. But I'm not counting on him. I'm not thinking he's going to be a white knight and come in and save the day. In fact, that's kind of why I like Putin as a leader, because I'm not Russian, because I'm American. I don't have an illusion that Vladimir Putin's thinking about me. Right? He's not my leader. He's Russia's leader. Don't put your faith in politicians. Put your faith in yourself and the people who love and support you. And plan long term for getting the people who don't love you out of your life. Because here's the thing. Whatever you think, as painful as it can be, to acknowledge that those people need to be out of your life. They're out of your life already. Donald Trump has already abandoned his base. I said this a couple of years ago about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, I could see it, had already abandoned. As soon as he came out in support of Hillary Clinton, who shivved him in the back in the 2016 election and shivved his supporters in the back, as soon as he came out and supported her, I felt like it was over. Sanders supporters need to admit the truth and move on. The other areas where Putin is someone to emulate, he's pro-family. And in terms of, and I mean pro having kids, build your own economy. What I mean by that is make yourself, it's another area where Putin is very smart. He's made Russia very self-sufficient. The reason they're doing well in the economy, make yourself as self-sufficient as you can. It's why I've been a homeschooling parent for so many years. I want my kids to be as self-sufficient as possible. And even though, you know, I went through some of this because I went through a very difficult divorce that I'm still going through. And I learned a lot of these lessons then. But I'm glad I've raised kids who are independent enough where they don't feel like they need me. If that makes sense. Everyone who has kids, especially as they get older, you've done a good job if your kids are independent enough to be independent from you. Obviously, I love my kids. And I miss them being in my life on a daily basis. But I'm glad I raised independent kids. Because in a sense, look, they're gonna lose me at some point anyway. I am gonna die at some point. One of the strokes is gonna take me out. And I would hate to think they couldn't go on without me. Vladimir Putin's built a Russian economy. People say, well, what's going to happen after Putin's out of power? The answer is Russia will go on. Because the people have resilience, and he's built systems that have resilience. How can you do that in your life? Build your own economy. Think how you can make yourself as independent of the stormy weather can come on in your life. So anyway, I'm going to end it now. I'm going to talk more about some of the stuff today on the backstory, and also talk about why the Ukrainian culture of people with torches having parades isn't normal. Someone came after me after the video I did last night, and they said, well, Charlottesville, you've heard of that? First off, you're the kind of dick who I'm going to block right away. Don't say to me, have you heard of Charlottesville? Like I'm a fucking moron. Don't talk to me like I'm a moron. Then I won't block you. But if you do, if you think I'm a moron, why are you talking to me? Yes, I've heard of Charlottesville. There's 20 ways. Charlottesville doesn't happen every year with the support of the government and with huge crowds of people cheering them on. They didn't take Charlottesville, the people who were marching, and build an army division around them, like the Azov Battalion was integrated into the army in Ukraine. I'll talk about this and other things I'm trying to get back in the habit of doing more videos. And also, one of the advantages is, as I'm trying to rebuild, well, you know what they told me, I don't know if you know much about strokes. I didn't, and I wish I didn't. But part of the job, like when I was in speech therapy, they told me the key is to keep speaking, which is why I'm blessed to have the job I do, hosting a radio show. I'm going to start doing more of these videos, and I'm going to expand my channels, self-sufficiency again, to Odyssey and Rumble very soon. Because do you know who doesn't love me? YouTube. The Google Corporation does not love me. So I'm going to apply the principle I said and take myself as independent from the platforms that don't love me. I'm not saying Odyssey loves me, but at least Odyssey's not actively attacking my free speech constantly. I don't live in constant fear of Odyssey or Rumble. So we're going to be expanding those platforms, and I'm going to be announcing some new projects. But I'm going to be doing more of these videos and talking to you. And hopefully it doesn't irritate you too much. I'm somewhat halting. I know that. But I'm trying to get better. What they told me in speech therapy was the best thing you can do for your speech is keep speaking. Because what happens is the neural pathways, the parts in my brain that do basic stuff like form words and tell my tongue what part of my mouth to go in. Get your mind out of the gutter. But the parts, the neural pathways between my brain and my mouth, the way I'm building those up is by speaking. So I'm going to be doing more of these videos. I hope you're used to me, or at least not totally sick of me yet. Do me a favor. When I build in new channels, be sure to subscribe. And also, we've got a new course on George Soros coming. I posted the page on my Twitter feed. I hope you sign up for it. It's going to be a great course. And you'll learn stuff about, I think the Soros thing is important to understand. Because understanding, truly understanding, not a shallow understanding, how George Soros works is key to understanding how the modern world works. So I hope you can sign up for that course. It's an affordable $40 for a 4-week class. And we're going to include a reporter's notebook with hundreds of pages of notes and articles about Soros. Sign up for the course, please. Till next time, I'm Lee Shanahan. Bye-bye.